Welcome to the archive for Sexology. Among many other things, we also offer a critical dictionary of sexology. I am its author, Erwin Haberle. Part of this dictionary is a glossary of inappropriate terms, and I've talked about some of these before. One of the most misleading is the term premature ejaculation, or PE for short. Even doctors who should know better use this expression all the time. So what's wrong with it? First, let's see what the problem is they're trying to describe here. A couple can have a problem when, during sexual intercourse, the male partner reaches his orgasm well before the female does, and she remains unsatisfied. And why does she remain unsatisfied? It's because once a male reaches his orgasm, he loses his erection. In other words, his hard penis becomes soft and thus cannot continue thrusting. So for him, the intercourse is over. This means, however, that it is also over for her, who might have wanted it to continue. Thus, she feels frustrated and he feels inadequate, an unsatisfactory situation for both of them. And what has ejaculation got to do with this? Nothing. But it has everything to do with his orgasm. Now you might say, what's the difference? Orgasm and ejaculation in males, it's the same thing. But here you would be wrong. Orgasm and ejaculation are not the same thing. Just to begin with, boys before puberty can very well have orgasms, but they cannot yet ejaculate semen. So they have orgasms without ejaculations. Okay, everybody knows that. But there are also some grown-up men who have orgasms without ejaculating anything to the outside. Instead, their semen is ejaculated inside, into the bladder. This can be a side effect of certain medications or an after effect of prostate surgery. Doctors then speak of a retrograde ejaculation. But, strictly speaking, a retrograde ejaculation is not really an ejaculation. In actual fact, the men are not ejaculating at all. The word ejaculation is derived from the Latin and means literally throwing out. It does not mean throwing in. The E as the first letter of the word ejaculation is short for X, which means out. Therefore, a retrograde ejaculation is not really an E or ejaculation, but rather an introjaculation. I just made that up. But enough of my philological nitpicking. Instead, let's look at another fact. Even in some healthy men whose semen moves to the outside, the term ejaculation is not always accurate. For them, there is not always a throwing out of anything. There are no spurts of semen at all. Instead, the semen merely oozes out. This is indeed the case in many young, vigorous, perfectly healthy men. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. They're fine, even if they do not ejaculate, but merely have the semen leak out slowly. No matter, spurting out or dribbling out, their semen can definitely get their female partners pregnant. Finally, let's remember this. When a man has had repeated orgasms within a short period, a new orgasm may not be able to produce another ejaculation because, for the time being, his supply of seminal fluid has simply been exhausted. In a popular phrase, he is running on empty. But now back to the original problem. As I just said, an ejaculation can but does not necessarily accompany an orgasm. You can have an orgasm without ejaculation, but you cannot have an ejaculation without orgasm, because The seminal fluid accumulates in the prostate, and during orgasm, the prostate contracts repeatedly, thus pressing the semen forward into the penis and through it to the outside, or backward into the urinary bladder inside. So, never mind whether anything spurts or oozes from the penis, that is irrelevant. The ejaculation is not the point here at all. It's a red herring, so to speak, which misdirects your intention. What alone is important is the orgasm. It's the orgasm and nothing but that ends the male sexual response. His penis goes soft and he cannot continue the sexual intercourse, at least not for a while. As I'd already mentioned, this can be an unsatisfactory situation. Unsatisfactory for him and for her if both of them wanted the intercourse to last longer. That is to say, if they wished that he could have delayed his orgasm until she had reached hers. Actually, some women can, during intercourse, have additional orgasms after the first. So what we're really talking about is not an ejaculation or the lack of it, but the unsatisfactory timing of the male orgasm. This, therefore, is the best way of describing the problem. Now that we have dispensed with the word ejaculation in this context, let's look at the other part of the expression, the word premature. It implies that a good ejaculation can be and should be mature. But I have never heard of a mature ejaculation, or have you? And why not? Because it just sounds too silly. Some doctors now realize this potential embarrassment and no longer speak of premature, but of rapid ejaculations. But this is like telling us about white snow, red blood, or black coal. Every ejaculation, if it is one, is rapid by definition. That's why it's called ejaculation and not seepage or leakage. So let's simply forget it and remember a simple truth. There is no objective maturity, no definite number of seconds, minutes, or hours for the satisfying timing of orgasms. The same man who comes too soon with one woman may come at just the right time with another, because some women may reach their own orgasm sooner than others. So the man's timing may be satisfactory for one woman but not for another. Therefore, the problem, as far as it is one, is always a relationship problem. A problem between two people. There is no such thing as an untimely orgasm for a male who masturbates all by himself. He can reach orgasm whenever he wants, after very short or long time. And it's always satisfactory. Once you understand that, you realize that his problem begins only when he starts intercourse with a woman and wants to please her. And no doubt, it can be a serious problem. With all my criticism of the misleading term premature ejaculation, I do not want to deny or obfuscate that the timing of a man's orgasm can be unsatisfactory. But using a correct description of the problem already gives us a clue as to what can be done about it. Because now we can ask, unsatisfactory for whom? For her? For him? For both? When we ask these questions, we recognize that we're dealing here with feelings and opinions, not with objective facts. We are indeed dealing with a relationship problem, a problem of communication and mutual adjustment. Once this is fully understood, a competent sex therapist can be helpful. Such a therapist knows that the problem can have a number of different causes and that these call for different treatment approaches. In some cases, the therapy may be very easy, quick, and efficient. In other cases, there may be underlying issues that are difficult to resolve. At any rate, all three parties involved here, the therapist and the couple, must understand that in principle a male can learn to control the timing of his orgasm. If he can already do that when he masturbates alone, he can also learn to do it when he has intercourse with a female partner, especially if she encourages and supports him. You can find details about the treatment of this and other sexual performance problems in our free online course, Sexual Dysfunctions and the Treatment, on our website. Yes, something can be done about it. Just don't call it premature ejaculation.